Hello everyone, Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm busy knitting the footprints blanket. You know one thing about knitting these blankets, they do keep your knee warm in this colder weather, especially because it's a good length now and it's going down my legs. I have my heating blanket on my knee as well because I don't put my heating on until after I've had my tea. Until the weather gets really cold. That's which we're supposed to be expecting some really cold weather pretty soon. If it gets really cold, I put my heating on all day then. But until then, I just put it on for an hour in the morning to warm the house up a little bit after I get up, and it goes on again after I've had my tea. When I'm sitting down all night watching TV and stuff like that, and sitting knitting. So anyway, I'm on to the best part of this blanket that I like. After I've done I'll show you. After I've done the footprints, from the end of the footprints up to this bit garter stitch, there's no having to check the pattern for, I think it's about 6 rows altogether. I can just knit. I've lost where I was starting on there. I can just knit those rows without having to look at the pattern. But I only have one block of the little squares left to do. That'll be another 50 rows plus 4 rows, knitted rows at the end, and then the blanket's finished. But I've got just a little bit video just to show you, instead of me just holding it up like that, you can show you I've laid it out as flat as I could on the floor because it doesn't stretch out straight across these circular needles. Just to show you what it's actually starting to look like now. So I'm going to stop this video for a minute and show you how it's coming on. This is how the blanket's looking at the moment, and it's so big I've had to lay it out on my floor, on my carpet. But my carpet is clean, so there's no need to worry. So I have done 1, 2, 3, 4 of the columns across. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have one more to do. It's another 50. After I finish this, after I put the garter stitch along here, there will be another 54 rows to do, and then it will be finished. And I very much doubt whether I will be doing another one of these blankets in a hurry. So that's how the blanket's looking now for anyone that wanted to see how it was coming on. And I have measured the length on the Etsy site where I think this pattern is on for sale. It doesn't actually say on the pattern itself, but I think on the site it tells you that it's 31 inches by 31 inches. I haven't measured the width yet, but I have measured the length to see what mine measures. And bear in mind I am doing the slightly larger size needle. I'm using the 4.5 millimeter needle because I've knit with this. I had some other wool, this blue wool, I had blue in this wool, and when I tried to knit it on 4 millimeter needles it was quite stiff and it came out, it was hard to knit. So I realised it was a little bit thicker actually than double knitting, so I used 4.5 because this was the only pink I had, a really baby pink like this, that there was enough to do the blanket with. So when I measured mine, up to now, mine measures nearly 28 inches, so it's going to be a little bit longer than 31 inches. It'll be more like about 34, 35, I think, when it's finished. But I mean, a few extra inches doesn't matter. It's for a baby. It'll be for a pram, a cot, or just to wrap a baby in, isn't it? So probably a little bit extra is probably better anyway. So I'll just finish this row and put it down. I don't like to put this down in the middle of a row. I like to be finished. I'm almost at the end. Especially with these circular needles. Sometimes when I put them down, I don't know which way around they are. Just trying to find the end again. That's the reason. This was much better after I started off using two circular needles, two sets of circular needles, the same size. So I was using it like two ordinary knitting needles. But as it started getting longer and that, it was a bit awkward because the weight on both sides was pulling it down on both sides of mine, and I was constantly having to keep pulling it up and pulling it up. So it got a bit better changing it to just the one circular needle. But it hasn't been too bad. So that's how far I've got with that one. So it shouldn't be much longer. I think I managed yesterday. I counted the rows up. I make a little mark on the paper on where I actually start the row so I can count how many rows. I actually did 20 rows yesterday, so I'm spending a little bit more time on this because Jane's granddaughter could be due any time within the next, I know it's probably a couple of weeks now from what Jane told me, but it could be any time actually, so I want to get this finished to make sure it's finished in time. So I have been spending a little bit more time on this one, but I have got this far with, well, I get it out the bag. The last one I've got to do for Dagry. Got to finish this off and then get it sent off to the United States before the Christmas rush starts, because I don't know how long it'll take for something at this time of year when it's starting to get near people sending out Christmas things. So I've got the back and the two fronts on there, and I'm halfway up the sleeve, so it'll not be too much longer for this one. I've only been doing this one of a night time because I've been concentrating on the blanket during the day, and then I can get on with when I finish both of these I can get on with the three other little sets, two little cardigans and another little set with a little hat that I have to do for one of my customers. And then after that I can start sorting out some of my patterns which I was been going to do for quite some time, to try to sort out some adult size patterns, knitting patterns, because I have a lot of instructions I've written down when I've been knitting other sizes of sweaters and cardigans and things, but I just do not have the time at the moment to sort them all out and start writing out the patterns, because I have to go through all my notes because I have books and books and books. I've got lots of books where I've been writing things down. I started off with one book where I was writing just anything in when I first started doing this, like knitting for other people, even when I just started knitting for myself, and I wrote things down, but I never wrote all the complete instructions down. If I was doing a lacy pattern like the rosebud lace, which I've done for myself, I never actually wrote it down row for row. I just wrote it down after I'd done the rib and then how many inches I'd done up to the armholes, because I can just knit without reading a pattern for the likes of the rosebud, and I don't need to read a pattern. I know exactly how many stitches to do in between, and I do a lot of different stitches in between. Sometimes I make them wider, wider, like instead of having them very close together, I maybe do them a little bit wider apart, and that like I have done on my own. So I never actually wrote all the instructions down, but I do have all the measurements, how many stitches I had to cast on for the back, and how many I decreased up for the to get up to the shoulder. Because I very rarely do a raglan for myself. I prefer the set-in sleeves, like this sweater's got set-in sleeves. I prefer these type of sleeves for myself. I think it's something to do with my shape. Just don't look right with raglan ones. And then I have all the number of stitches I have put on for the sleeves. But like in saying again, I don't work out by writing it down the pattern. So I'm going to have to go through all the different sizes I have and write all the number of stitches for the body and the sleeves and that, and then try to work out the patterns, if there's any sort of pattern I've done on them and that. And then maybe I may be able to start writing out some adult knitting patterns to sell. But I do need time to do that, and people just will not leave me alone. They will not let me just knit what I want to knit or do what I want to knit. The orders just sort of keep coming in. I have another one of these yarn balls to do. These are things I do in between knitting and that. I just maybe spend a couple of hours doing things. They weren't particularly going to be orders, but I have had one or two orders for them, and I have another one. And this lady's Catherine, she wants it quite a larger one because she wants it for jumbo. Where I do this one here, it's not a full ball, that's in there. But I make it just the inside to fit a 100-gram ball. So I measured my 100-gram balls before I started doing them. Most of mine are 8 inches. So I do the bag 12 inches across here. So that gives you a couple of inches on either side for the movement of the ball. And then I think I had about 4 inches across the bottom there, like that. But Catherine's asked me for one for a jumbo size one. She sent me the measurements of the ball, so I have to add what she sent me and add a couple of inches extra on either side for so you have to have a bit movement for the ball moving around inside the bag. So that's what I get, things like that, where things like that stop me from doing what I want to do with orders and things like that as well. But hey, I do like to do one or two things like that so I can put them on my shop to sell, and also to do them just to let people see what I can do, and then I get orders for some things like I did for those. I think I've already sent out a couple of them. I have one on eBay at the moment for the 100-gram size ball. But I have just seen I'm going to try and work out my other adult patterns and that, but I have to get these finished in the meantime. So that's my little bit for today. So thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you all another time. So bye for now. And I am going to have my cup of tea before I forget. It always gets cold when I do these videos. So it's still warm. See you later.